Hello there. Hi, YouTube. Well, I'm not saying hello to all of YouTube. All of YouTube is not there. Specific people on YouTube that I like and I know, with the possibility of the random YouTube people stumbling in. But that's always cool. It's always cool. You know what? Every time I do this and there's already people in the chat, every time that happens, I'm just like, really? Really? Y'all came back. That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, Sandy Wandy. How are you? It's good to see you. Miss Sunrise Dawn. Hi from North Georgia, everyone. Hi to North Georgia from North Texas. Good to see you. It's Rick Spicer. Yay! Hey, Rick Spicer. Some of my favorite fun shorts for distraction and humor on Rick Spicer's channel. They're super fun. It's Miss Dragon. You're defrosting your freezer? You picked a chore for tonight, huh? A chore. So we're all the lives are getting you through the chores, huh? I don't think I've defrosted my freezer since I had one of those little like small ones that's got like the section in the corner. It's not like a real freezer. It's like I don't know. It's actually like a little like college size fridge, but those are the ones that always seem to like frost over the worst. Those are the ones I actually had to defrost all the time. Hey, look at that. Streamception or YouTubeception or something like that. Rick said he's watching Mist right now. I love Miss Dragon's content. I love her videos. I love the funny ones. I love the serious ones. I love the mixture of the two. They balance each other out really, really well. Because sometimes I need a little bit of silly with my serious. I don't know about the rest of y'all. And I don't know, Mist has a way of like, Miss Dragon's presence just makes me feel calm. Mist has a really calming voice. It's very soothing to me. But then, like, even when she's just like in the chat, I'm like, okay, everything's cool. Miss Dragon is here. I don't know. I don't know what that is. It must be your superpower, Miss Dragon. You have a calming influence, at least on me. Oh my gosh, did I schedule this for tomorrow night instead of tonight? Did I? Well, huh. Let me see if there's a way to fix that. I'm glad somebody said something. Y'all are funny. Y'all are helpful funny. I'm the funny one, actually. Let's see. Let's go to the awesome YouTubes. Tubes of you. Oh, okay, good. Whew. All right then. All right then. Hey, Seventh. Good to see you. Hey, Seventh, thanks for looking out for me on my other video the other day and reminding me about the license plate blurring. I need to get over there and do that. I forget about stuff like that sometimes. I try to be wary of, I try to be knowledgeable about like street signs if I'm streaming like a walk or something, but I always forget license plate numbers. But I know people can hook those back up to location as well. And well, I don't care about any of you people knowing where I live. The random internet YouTubes probably is not the best idea. Oh crap. Oh, thanks, Seventh. That's a really kind thing to say. That's really sweet. Hey, sweet tea. Good to see you. I don't think I saw you come in, but I'm glad you're here. It's always good to see you. And Janet G. Hi, Janet. Good to see you too. Oh, okay. You were the one of the wrong date. I don't think I shared this one tonight, guys. I think I just relied on those of y'all who know I tend to do this. I tend to just like wait till the boat is done. And then I'm like, I'm not ready to sleep yet. So click here, turn it on. If anyone wants to come hang out. I kind of think of it as like, so when I was in high school, I used to hang out on my friend's patio a lot. Uh, like we would very often like have something to go do in the evening, like an official, like an actual plan, hang out, like an actual like plan. We were gonna go somewhere and do something. And then afterward, we would just kind of like sit on someone's porch with the light on for like another hour, like prolonging it because like we weren't ready to go home. And it was not necessarily like the whole big group, but it was like, some people would go do that. So I kind of think of what I do here as like that. Like, hey, I'm going to turn my porch light on if anyone wants to come sit with me. Now, back in the day, I was smoking cigarettes, and I don't do that anymore, but it can still hang, right? Oh, I have my fake cigarette. Have I shown y'all my fake cigarette? It came with my Quit Smart kit. It's to help you with the oral fixation. Happily, I don't need it a whole lot anymore. That's why I can't find it. But at first, I like had it in my pocket all the time. Like I always knew where it was. Well, hey, we're very late today too, Mon, not just you. Mon says, "Hey guys, very late today. Hi, Miss Anybody, Janet G." Yeah. Now, I literally just turned this on because the boat just wrapped up, and that I like to stay for the whole thing because that's how I do. That's how I do, and I also don't like to overlap over cricket either because I don't like to miss cricket's show either. So that's how I do. Sweet Tea says, grateful for this show tonight. We took a group of middle schoolers to the amusement park today. Oh man. Oh, that's exhausting. Oh, I feel like that deserves like a round of applause. If I had a trophy of some kind, I would present it to you. Middle schoolers at an amusement park. Holy crap. Um, so some of y'all know this. My husband was a middle school teacher. He was he was a middle school teacher for 7 years and then a high school teacher for 7 years after that. And one of the very first years we were married, we took a group of middle school students to New York City on like a sightseeing trip for his theater group. Like we went around and saw different Broadway shows and stuff like that and did different tours and things. Getting middle schoolers around a place like a city or an amusement park is like herding cats in the worst way. So my hat is off to you, sweet tea. I'm sure you're absolutely exhausted. You're working overnight too? What the heck and heck? What? Lots of them. All of my strength and my good vibes and my prayers go out to you, sweet tea. I hope, for you to have the strength to make it through your overnight shift after all of that. Holy guacamole. Holy guacamole. Hey, Susan P. Good to see you. Thanks for coming to hang out. You know what? I don't think anyone is late. It's Friday night. You show up when you show up, right? Whenever we show up is exactly when we were meant to show up. That's what I think. But I don't know how Sweet Tea feels about Herman as an award, Mon. Like Herman is a fish head. Like he's pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. He's decent as a mascot, but I don't know. Are you an award, Herman? No, he says no. But oh, you know what? Wait a second. Hold on. I do have somebody. I do have something. Here we go. Positive potato. I think this calls for a positive potato. He may be a tiny potato, but I believe in you. Go do your thing. Heck yeah. I love those little dudes. Yes, the fish is Herman. The fish was named Herman by I don't know, like I showed him like I did a little show and tell one night and the folks that were here asked what his name was and my grandfather caught him many, many years ago and my grandfather's middle name was Herman, so I was just like, "Herman, sounds about right. Sounds about right." Yes, your sanity. If I recall oh gosh, I remember chaperoning the middle schoolers on that trip. I remember the plane ride back just being exhausted, and we were, like, also at the very back of the plane too, which is super noisy and just, like, exhausting, and we must have looked tired as heck because at some point, the flight attendant came by and said, "Oh, we actually need to, like, redistribute passengers for the weight of the plane. Would the 2 of you like to move up to first class?" And we were like, "Heck yes." I don't know if they just took pity on us and that was just a line, but it was much appreciated. It was much appreciated. I'm so happy to see you. I love how Mischief is so enthusiastic. It's it's contagious. I love them. I love the enthusiasm. It makes me happy. Like y'all don't see me when I'm like off of here, but like a lot of the time when I'm just like going through my daily work day, I'm kind of flat. I'm kind of just like typing these things, typing these things. "Oh, crap, it's a meeting." And then I get really angry about stupid meetings that are purposeless. But other than that, I get kind of flat. But when I come on here and I see you guys and you seem excited, I get excited too. And, I smile a lot here. I smile a lot here. I smile a lot with my little kiddo. My little guy stayed home sick today. He was getting over a stomach bug. I guess there's something going around his summer program, but he was actually pretty okay most of the day. He didn't have any of the like really bad symptoms. He mostly was just resting a lot. Like he just wanted to lay on the couch and cuddle and stuff. I worked, so his dad took most of the point on that, but he was chill and he's asleep now. And this is a funny night. Like it's Friday night, right? And so we did our thing. We all had pizza together because that's like a Friday night thing we do. I took my dog to the vet for his checkup, and that was uneventful. And he's sleeping on the floor behind me. Like he's curled up super tiny. I would show him to you, but I would have to move the camera all wonky. Hey, yeah, thank you, Miss Sunrise Dawn. It is his 5th birthday tomorrow. Thank you, sweet tea. He, I think, is totally on the mend. I think by tomorrow morning, he'll be totally back to normal. Nothing keeps him down for very long at all. Um, he had like the main symptoms yesterday evening, and then today was really just like resting and recovering. But we are taking him to a place called Peppa Pig World of Play tomorrow. That should be cool. We've been there before, but it's been a while, and that was his thing that he wanted to do. So that'll be fun. He'll probably want chicken nuggets for lunch because that's his jam. He likes chicken nuggets. And then we'll just play it by ear, do what he wants for dinner. He might say something silly that like my husband and I said, like, oh, we'll just do whatever. We'll just ask him what he wants to do for dinner. But he's not always realistic. Sometimes he says stuff like chocolate. But I guess we can do that. I mean, it's his birthday, right? It's not a normal day. But I'm having all the feels about it being his 5th birthday because I feel like I just brought him home. I feel like I just had him. I don't know where time is going. I'm feeling some kind of way about it, some kind of nostalgia about it, but it's good. It's good. That's what children do, right? If you're doing it right, they grow and they get bigger and they get older. And eventually they start talking back to you, which he doesn't do that yet, but he's going to. You know how I know? Because he's mine. He's mine. He's gonna be a pistol. So or he won't. Maybe he'll have my best qualities and dad's agreeableness. We'll see. We'll see. Mon says, I've missed you, Mischief Managed. We have all missed you, Mischief Managed. Hey, try to say that 10 times fast. Missed you, Mischief Managed. Happy to see you. Worried we hadn't seen you and people let me know you were okay. I was reassured you were fine. Thanks to all of our beautiful friends here. I love that we do that for each other, guys. Like, I love that we do that for each other here and on the boat and on Needing a Meeting and on Blessed to Crochet and like all of I love that we do that for each other. Like, we notice when someone's not been around in a while and we kind of look around for them. I don't know if any of y'all talked to Atypical Paul. I talked with him the other day. He's doing good. He's just working a lot. He's actually starting a new like work training program the same day I start my new job. So that's kind of funny. So I said, okay, we got to report back, dude. So that's fun. He seems like he's doing good. It is Saturday. His birthday is Saturday. So technically today, because it's midnight. But he was, at least where I am, it's midnight. I know for some of y'all, it's like an hour and ahead. For you, Mon, actually, for you, Mon, it's already his birthday because you are in the future, as we have discussed previously. But yeah, I had him at 11:20 p.m. at night after being in the hospital for 3 days, trying to induce. And my body was like, Pitocin? Screw that. Or he was like that. I don't know. Maybe both of us were stubborn. Like he was like, "No, I'm comfy in here. I'm not going anywhere." And my body was like, "We're not comfortable here. We're not having any kind of birth here. We're not comfortable in this strange place." So we were both ornery. But we met him and he was awesome. And the rest is history. Yeah, I know I do this late, and I do it late mainly because that's when little guy's asleep. That's when all of my other things that I gotta do and take care of are, taken care of, and so that's kinda why I do the late thing. Maybe one day like, when he's a little more independent or something, I'll do him a little earlier, but, we'll see. We'll play it by ear. I know my schedule is fixing to change here in a couple weeks when I start my new job. But really, the main difference is that I'll be driving physically to a place instead of working from home. Other than that, like the hours don't change up too much, except that I'll probably pick like one evening a week to work there because people like appointments in the evening sometimes. Um, but I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm ready to be done with all of the current stuff and move on to the new thing. I gave them this really, really long notice, which I guess was kind and professional of me, but now I kind of regret it. It is, Mon. I agree. Chocolate is indeed a food group. Chocolate beans, milk, sugar, vegetable. You're right. You're right. Chocolate is beans, milk. Yeah, I gotcha. That makes sense. They do. I know some of y'all have kids who are grown, like Janet G. I know you have twins that are grown, and we've swapped stories about crazy things little ones do. And, like, I know Miss Sunrise Dawn has a little one about my son's age, um, but she also has an older, like, adult child too. So we've talked about that too. He's my only one, and, um, he had talked previously about possibly having more than one, like, back when we first back in the beginning of history, like, 9, 10 years ago. Um, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see if that happens. This little one takes up a lot of he's pretty fully awesome on his own, and he has about the energy of 2 children, so we'll see. We might zip it up. We might call it done there. We'll see. We'll see. He's pretty awesome. Mermaid. Mermaid. There's a mermaid? Did I miss something? Mermaids are awesome. I love mermaids. 7th. 7th says my 4-pound, 1-ounce baby boy turned 29 on the 19th. Happy birthday to him. And congratulations to you. He was born at that weight. My son, when he was born, he was 5 pounds, 9 ounces, which is, considerably larger, but like he was kind of on the borderline of possibly being the NICU, but they decided he was big enough he didn't. But I had preeclampsia. And when you have preeclampsia, it makes it harder for like nutrients and blood flow and all that kind of good stuff to get to the growing little baby. So part of that was attributed to why he was so little. And at one point, like when you induce and they have you on the IV and all that stuff, like when the baby is born, they're like kind of plumped up with all this water weight because of all the IV fluid and stuff. But then they lose weight, like after you leave the hospital, and he lost like a pound. So at one point, he was like 4 pounds, 9 ounces. Like I think the day after we took him home, and I was so emotional about it. I mean, you're emotional anyway. Like women's hormones like freak out after you have a child anyway. Like they just do. That's what happens. But then on top of that, he was so tiny and we had a hard time, getting him to eat, and he had a hard time with the whole breastfeeding thing because he was just teeny tiny, and I didn't know what I was doing either. So, but we got here, man. Yeah, we got here, and now he eats like a champ. He's kind of picky, but he eats like a champ now. Not breastfeeding though. He's too old for that. If you have teeth, I think that's about when you cut it off. Just my 2 cents. My 2 cents. I know in some countries they breastfeed like until age 4 or whatever. That's cool, but for me, I was like, the teeth. Yeah, that's when to cut it off. For me personally. No judgment on anyone's choices, though. Your youngest is 29th to 30 in November. Wowza. I've always like wondered, like, is it just the most surreal thing? Because I don't have the experience of having my child, like knowing him as an adult yet. But I always wonder if that's not the most surreal thing in the world to see this like adult human that was this tiny little person that you remember when they were tiny and like I don't know when you were seeing them as like a little flicker on a screen and stuff. Like I asked my mother that once. I said, "Is this not the most surreal thing in the world to see these like full-grown people that you once like changed diapers for?" And she kind of like stopped. She's like, "Well, it doesn't happen all at once. It doesn't happen overnight. Otherwise, it would be extremely surreal. Sometimes it still is." Rick. Rick, you always make me laugh. Wow, 29 and 4 pounds. That's nice. I know you're joking. I think he meant when he was born. I love you, Rick. Hey, it's Mary. Blessed to crochet. How is your head doing? I know you had a migraine earlier today. I was thinking about you. I hope that you're feeling a little bit better. I hope that you were able to get some rest. It's so good to see you. Yeah, Rick, he'll blow away. Yeah, Mon. Mon says people are fortunate to have children, even though they can give you a headache. For sure. Absolutely. My sister and I couldn't have children, but I have a niece and a nephew from my brother and sister-in-law. Wow. That does kind of put things in perspective. Like especially on days that are hard, that it's hard to keep up with him. It puts things in perspective for sure. It's always important to count your blessings and things like that. But nieces and nephews are awesome, like you can you can affect a child's life quite a lot as an aunt or an uncle. Um, I know that my life was affected quite a lot by my aunts, so it's important to have cool aunts you can talk with and maybe understand things in a different way. Cocoa Pebbles at 12 o'clock. I must have missed something, but Cocoa Pebbles sounds delicious. I haven't eaten like crazy sugary cereal in a long time, and now I kind of miss it. Hey, it's Maya. Maya, aka Allison Art Supply Hoarderland. Good to see you. I get a kick out of saying your whole handle because I look at it's the channel name, but I just I am always excited to see you anyway. But I get a kick out of saying your whole handle. Cocoa Pebbles for a birthday. I don't have any Cocoa Pebbles. I should get some. Hey, it's Tuber Chat. Hey, thanks for coming to hang out, Tuber Chat. Y'all, Tuber Chat is an awesome channel for small creators who are, learning about how to grow their channel and how to, just like how to navigate this whole YouTube craziness thing. So I highly recommend checking out Tuber Chat if you are a small creator and want to know how to do all this. Like even just, aside, you can also connect with other small YouTubers as well. And like I found a lot of cool channels this way that, have connected me with communities I wouldn't have necessarily had access to otherwise. Like Jessie Miller, who comes here a lot, of unboxings and more. She does like unboxings of stuff on her channel, and I just love watching that. That's very calming to me. I met her through Tuber Chat. So thanks for coming to visit us. I will, if I can get my computer to cooperate with me, drop a link to Tuber Chat and some of our other friends here that have channels that I would like to support also. A good question. Janet G says, Rick Spicer, from whence do you hail in Canada? Y'all know Rick Spicer is going to be Prime Minister, correct? He's going to be Prime Minister of Canada. It's going to happen. Miss Dragon says, if he's got a sibling, he'll have someone else to focus attention on, and you guys will get a brother. My boys are 3 years apart. Yeah, at this point, like they would be like, so realistically, I'm not getting pregnant tomorrow. There's like all kinds of reasons for that, but that's not happening tomorrow. But if we did, um, they would be like 6 years apart. And at one point, is it like, gosh, a lot of years apart? I don't know. There's lots of thinking to do about it for sure, but siblings are awesome. Like I have 2 brothers and I love having 2 brothers and I wouldn't have it any other way. And having siblings taught me that I'm not the center of the universe. And I think that's a very important lesson for any kid or person to learn for sure. Oh, St. Kitts, Niagara area. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Mom says we are lucky, gorgeous young adults, and lots of my really close have children from little people to adults, and they're all special to me. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that's what I was told, Janet G, that babies usually lose about 10% of their weight in the first week or so. And like logically, I knew this, but like as a hormonal new mom who had this like mild, like, I don't know, this like induction that didn't take. And like that was the first time I was ever overnight in a hospital in my entire life. And I went in thinking like when I first got pregnant, I was like, "Well, I'm gonna do the whole natural birth thing. I'm not gonna have any medical interventions, I'm not gonna have any drugs, I'm not gonna have any of the things. I'm gonna do everything all natural. Good for me, right?" And the birthing class we took was geared towards that. It was this class called the Bradley method, which is like husband coach childbirthing, and it's all very well good in theory. But if you have preeclampsia or another medical condition associated with your pregnancy, it's not realistic. It's just not. And inductions work by giving you a synthetic form of the hormone oxytocin, which a woman's body pumps out a bunch of in labor to get labor started and to continue it and conclude it. So they give you the synthetic version that they made in the lab called Pitocin. And for whatever reason, my body was just not impressed with synthetic Pitocin. It was just like they pumped me full of that stuff like for 3 days before it did anything at all. My body was just like, "Huh, what's this?" Um, Later, when I had my right mind back and I had some sleep, I was reading about it and I learned that a person also produces more oxytocin when they are in a place that they feel safe, in a place that they feel comfortable. Like there's an interplay there. Like if you don't feel comfortable where you are, your body's not going to make a lot of this. And that's what's needed to get the whole labor process going and to get, all of that happening. And I'd never been in a hospital before, and I didn't feel comfortable or safe in a hospital. So that could have had something to do with it. Like, because I didn't feel safe, my body was probably fighting it. Um, there was one day. So what they would do is they would like put me on the IV all day and they pump me full of the Pitocin all day. And then when nothing would happen and it wouldn't induce any contractions or anything, they would take me off of it at the end of the night and like give me a break. And I'd be allowed to eat something because I couldn't eat during the day because you're like, they're under the assumption that you might have to have a C-section, which is a surgery. So I would be hungry and not feeling safe and like just exhausted but they would let me eat something at the end of the day. And I think one day, like the third day, so probably today, 5 years ago, um, it would have been today was the third day in the hospital. And I think my husband had left and got me some like Jersey Mike sandwiches or something because that was my request. And I'd eaten and they were letting us like go for a walk like outside around the hospital, which like technically they're not supposed to do. And there was one point at which I was like, we were walking around outside and I was like, "Can I just run away into the woods and have this baby there?" Because that's what I wanna do. I don't wanna go back to this hospital. Uh, but we went back and had him in the hospital, and it was like it wasn't working until all of a sudden it was. And I don't know if, like, I think one of the nurse midwives came in and talked with me, and she actually had a very, like, soothing and, like, calming presence, and she was actually very supportive, and I feel like that somehow made a difference. Maybe I'm just imagining things, but I feel like after that, things started progressing, and it started actually working, and I had to have, like, every medical intervention in the book practically, but I avoided a C-section, so went off onto a tangent for sure. Gonna catch up with the chat here. Or I'm gonna try to, but my screen froze. So I'm gonna check over here on the phone. That's super fun when it happens. Don't y'all love that? Did my whole internet stop? Jeez. Here we are. Awesome, awesome. Hey, okay. I'm gonna scroll way back up and catch up here. This is my favorite problem to have. Mischief. Since it got a missed reaction last time, I did not take y'all to the bathroom with me. Did I miss anything? I was just recounting my experience of labor induction 5 years ago. You're good. Oh, 7th, your son was preeclamptic too. So, yeah, you probably know a lot of what that entails and what goes into that. A lot of people end up having to have a C-section if the inductions don't take, but I managed to avoid that. Let's see if my there we go, my screen woke up. Woohoo. Yeah, I learned later that preeclampsia is more common than I thought, but I didn't know anything about it at the time, really. I mean, so I thought like I was an alien or something, but it's a lot more common than I thought. But Janet, you said you had it too. I think we talked a little bit about that. There were 5 pounds, 4 ounces, and 5 pounds, 13 ounces. 11 pounds of babies. Holy guacamole. You were busy. You were busy. Oh, your migraine is still there, but you're putting your I'm glad that you got your falcon hood. I hope it helps. This is absolutely true. Thank you, Rick Spicer. This is absolutely true. A good aunt or uncle is great in a kid's life for sure. We're like, "Mischief, we wouldn't even know if you didn't tell us, but it's kinda more funny if you tell us." Thank you, Mary. Thank you for posting Tuber Chat's link. It's a great resource for small creators for sure, you guys. It's helped me a lot. Like the other day, I was just able to get like a random question answered about like, "Hey, I do a lot of karaoke. Am I gonna get in trouble? Is my channel gonna get taken down?" It's really helpful information. Let's see. There's Maya's link for art supplies in Hoarderland. Y'all check her out. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for coming through with the link posting. I appreciate it. Miss Sunrise Dawn's channel, please go check out her. We had Miss Sunrise Dawn hang out with me on my channel last week. Or was it last week? Time flies, you guys. And that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed getting to know her better. And Miss Dragon, she of the very soothing and calming voice. He's very soothing and calming for me, for sure. Yeah, that's a good point, except if the siblings are fighting all the time and don't get along at all. That's always a possibility, you never know. And here is Rick Spicer's channel. Rick does a lot of really fun, like, short videos that are, like he has a really fun sense of humor that just, like it just makes sense to me and always makes me smile, which is really important. It's really important to start the day smiling if you can. Hey, Danielle, good to see you. Late nighters unite. Hi, all. Oh, wow. Okay. So Mon says my friend had her second at her oldest, 7.5 age difference. And Jazzy, who's the oldest, loves her little sister. So the big age difference is not the end of the world. Sometimes they think it's cool. And like really, so most of y'all know my kiddo has like mild to moderate autism. His language has like really blossomed and developed over the past year. Like he's giving me like full sentence some of the time now and like getting a little conversational too. Like he always communicated with me. It was just not like verbally, you know? But he's come a long way with that too. But I think like for him to have like had a sibling at like 4 would have been really hard. Like I don't know if he would have been ready for it, just like where he was maturity wise. Yes, Janet. We have to figure out the name for the political party Rick will start. The Sardonic Party? I like that name a lot. I like that, Janet G. Miss Dragon says, I've told my boys since they were little, with me and dad are gone, all you two have is each other, and now they're very close friends. They do a lot of things together. I was thinking about that, like that's your siblings are kind of like your allies, I guess. Like, your link to each other's history. Like, if nobody else, like, knows what I was like as a two-year-old, my brothers do. And, like, you can't put on airs with people that knew what you were like when you were 2. You can't get too, can't buy your own BS too much. And I think it's important to have people like that around. My older brother lives about an hour north of me. My younger brother lives about an hour south. And they're both very unique individuals, and they both have very unique perspectives. And, we get along great now that we don't live together. Mischief says, "My first 2 were 18 months apart." Yeah, my little brother and I are 18 months apart. We were thick as thieves. We as kids, we either were at each other's throats or we were bestest friends ever, and sometimes the same in like, both in the same day. Mischief says, "My 3rd was 10 years later. Many days I pondered, what was I thinking?" Well, yeah, I met somebody who told me it felt kind of like, "Oh, I started over again." Like, but she had, like, a high schooler who was, like, about to graduate, and then she had, like, a toddler, so she was like, "Yeah, I kinda started over." The sardonic party. That would be perfect for Rick's political party name, if you appreciate it, if you enjoy it, Rick. Yeah, please check out Blessed to Crochet's channel if you guys haven't already. You were 7th? As the youngest of 9 children, you were the center of the universe? So you don't have to be the only child, but if you're the youngest, that makes a difference, that means something somehow, like, you're the baby in a bigger way, huh? That's Now did I guess what was the age spread out on you guys like? Like, was everybody living in the same home at the same time, or were some of the older kids already grown and, like, moved out or launched? My mother has 2 older sisters who are quite a bit older than her. One is, like, 18 years older than her, and they never really lived together, and she kinda was more like an aunt, really. Yeah, I guess you still are. You still are the youngest of 9 children. Mischief's got a point. Rick says, "I'm sort of against parties. I don't owe anyone. No one owes me, so no need for a party. Just a buddy system." I like that. That's cool. But we do like the name suggestion, he says. Really, Sandy Wendy? Sandy Wendy said, "My goddaughter was born yesterday at 3:30." Congratulations, Sandy Wendy, that's awesome. See, I do have this. It's not a trophy, but it's celebratory. That's awesome. Congratulations, Sandy Wandy. I love that. I love that so much. That's so happy. That's so exciting. Oh, wow. I got super behind on the chat, you guys. Oh, wow. My 7th says my son's mother was a labor and delivery nurse, then became a midwife, and she had a hard time with psychology of childbirth. Yeah, it just goes to show like when it's a tough thing. Even if you know all the things, even if you know what to expect, it's just different when it happens to you, you know? Yeah, they had to do that to me, Mischief. I had to have that. But by then I had had my epidural, so, like, I was all, Whatever, do what you want." I resisted the epidural for a while, what felt like a long time. Like, I stuck it out on Pitocin contractions for probably about, I don't know, 6 hours and really scared the you know what out of my husband because I was yelling really, really loud, in a way that people don't normally hear. And then I decided that the anesthesiologist was my best friend. Best friend. I wish I could remember his name, I would send flowers. Rick says, "Long live the hyphens." No, 7th, I love the Miss Dragon wink. You're not the only one. I appreciate it too. It's so well done. Like, it's actually like, people don't appreciate it. It's really difficult to do a wink gracefully. If you do it wrong, it looks like you're just having a little bit of a seizure or a twitch. Like like, if I try to do a wink too like and it's real easy to get in your head about it too and make it look really, really weird. Like, so I really appreciate the Miss Dragon wink too. I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of the Miss Dragon wink at the end of the shorts. Maya is 12 years older than her youngest brother, so I turned into a spare mom for him. What was that like? I mean, some people tell me about experiences like that and they kind of liked them. Like they felt like, oh, I got to, learn responsibility. And then some people were kind of bummed out by it because like they didn't get to be as much of a kid as they wanted to. But everybody has a different experience. Miss says, I got the feeling of starting over watching a 2-month-old at 49. The only thing I didn't have to deal with was the nighttime wake ups. You took care of the 2-month-old, Miss. Oh, wow. Like 2 months is different though, because that's still newborn, right? Newborn days are a blur because they don't sleep normally. They sleep a lot, but they don't sleep normally because they do the wake up every 2 to 4 hours thing, and you're just on this, like, infinite loop of, like, baby sleeps, wake up, change, feed, change again, put back to sleep, wash bottles, whatever, do laundry, and then the whole thing repeats all over again. So it's like it's hard to actually wind down to fall asleep during that. We watched a lot of Netflix during the newborn days because, like, I mean, you're supposed to sleep when your baby sleeps, but sometimes the window wasn't big enough of him being asleep, so we would still be awake. So I think I watched a whole season of, True Detective, the 1st season. That was a pretty good show. And I watched the first couple seasons of Handmaid's Tale when my son was a newborn. Um, I started trying to watch the 2nd season of True Detective, but I didn't like it as much as the 1st one. I don't think they had Matthew McConaughey in the 2nd one, and he kinda carried it a little bit. I don't know if any of y'all seen that show, but I'm bummed out by Handmaid's Tale because Elizabeth Moss is probably giving all of her money to Scientology, and I can't get into it anymore. Like, I'll watch it again when she leaves, but right now I'm not. The book was good. That's amazing. 7 children in 10 years. Dang. My hat's off to your mother. Like, that's wow. Like, I was tired enough having the one. Like, I don't know how she did it. My hat is off to her. 7th. That's something else. That's amazing. Good genes for the kids, not just not the size of the babies. Oh, gotcha. Oh, there's a 20-year difference between your brother-in-law and your hubby and him? Wow. Brother-in-law's the same age as my birth father. Oh, okay. Okay, so there's a lot of siblings that have this, like, different, like, year spreads. Jana G says, "My oldest sister is 18 years older than my youngest sister, and we were 6 kids, 18 years apart." Wowza. Your 4 oldest were out of the home, 7th, gotcha. I'm really excited about this blessed crochet, Mary. That was really, really kind of you to think of me and make something like that. It's looking really, really cool, the picture you sent me early. I was really, really, really floored by that. Thank you so much for thinking of me like that. I appreciate it. This is why I didn't like being pregnant either, Mist. Like, being high risk pregnant sucks. You have people, like, buzzing around you telling you what to do all the time. Eat this, eat that, don't eat this, don't eat that. Rest here, actually, you should walk more, actually, but don't walk too fast. Make sure you eat what you're craving, but except for that thing, but make sure you get a lot of protein, but not lunch meat because it might have listeria. It's just like, I mean, I think most pregnant women get that, but, like, I feel like when you're high risk, you get it, like, double, and it just everybody leave me alone. Gonna eat some food. But yeah, I didn't get diagnosed with preeclampsia till the very end of my pregnancy though, so I didn't have to deal with so much of that or so much of it. Um, and I know different things can make a pregnancy high risk. So I guess, but I know people that get diagnosed with preeclampsia earlier and it's more severe, they have to go on bed rest. That would wreck me. Like, having to go on bed rest would destroy me. Like, I could not do it, you guys. You would have to, like, sedate me because I cannot be still in a bed for days. I cannot. Like, there's a lot of things I can put up with. I cannot do that. I'm a horrible sick person. If I get a cold or something and I am supposed to be resting, without a doubt, like, without fail, like, within 6 to 8 hours, I'm like, "Well, my house is dirty and I'm home anyway, so I'm gonna start cleaning." And my husband will come home and be like, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be resting, getting better." I'm like, "But I'm home. Like, I'm fine. I can clean." And then I'll just, like, I won't rest and I'll make myself sicker. And it's because my mind won't stop? So I'd be a terrible on bed rest person. You would have to sedate me. That's the only thing. Although, I mean, I like the idea of being able to read. But the thing is I have to move my body. I have to get up and move around. That's the only thing. I can't be physically still that long. I start to get ornery. Rick says, I have some really smart people I use to get information and data. Ooh, came over to support me. I'll run that name. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Dang, mischief. 3 births. Not so much as an aspirin. Holy crap. That's amazing. I'm so impressed. I really am. I am super impressed at women who do the natural childbirth thing. I could not. I wanted to. I could not. I could not. But back then we couldn't take anything. Nauseous, crackers, headache, suffer. That's right. During pregnancy, you weren't supposed to take anything either. Oh, really, 7th? My son's mother has a powerful singing voice, able to hear her on other floors. That's really cool. That's really fun. Um, yeah, it wasn't my singing voice that was going off when I was having contractions, though. It didn't sound that pretty. Just saying. Ever heard of call babies? I have actually. It's beautiful. It's really cool if they get a photograph of it. It's a birth of a fetus and placenta entirely encased in an unruptured amniotic sac, also colloquially referred to as a mermaid or a veiled delivery. Rare. It is really rare. I think partly because they break the water a lot manually now. But it's like I have seen like photographs of that. It's really cool. It's really, really neat. It's like they're coming, like they're in this little pod or something. It's pretty cool. Oh, you did, Miss Dragon? Potty trained her. That redhead is like a bull in a china hutch when she comes in after school. Nice. Yeah, Sandy Wandy, you said your goddaughter was born. Are mom and little one okay? Somehow, something's playing through my earbud. Oh, it's me. I have YouTube up on my phone and it's connected to my Bluetooth, and I heard, like, this little sound of a voice coming out of my Bluetooth head, like, they're on the desk, and I'm like, "What is that?" It's me on delay. That's weird. Those of you who do YouTube, who do videos, who do lives and things like that, do you ever have, like, you're like, I don't know, like, you have autoplay on and it pops you up on the screen and you're, like, just minding your own business, and then suddenly you hear your own voice on a video you recorded, and you're like, "What the heck? What is that?" Is that not the most surreal thing in the world? At least when if you're not expecting it. Like, if you know you're going back and watching a video you did, that's one thing, but if it just, like, pops up, that's surreal. Miss says, "My oldest was awake 2 hours, sleep 2 hours. I was exhausted." Yeah, you don't even get a window to rest in there. That's tough. 7 says, "My 14-year-old sister fulfilled most of my maternal needs." I guess when you have a lot of kiddos, you do end up relying on the older kiddos to help out. I mean, it's just what you have to do. Mm. Oh, man, that's rough, Miss. Miss says, "I was hospitalized twice for morning sickness." That's rough. I've heard of, like, when it gets really, really bad, it's like, hyperemesis gravidarum, which is not just vomiting, it's like, it can be dangerous because you can become dehydrated and you can, and that's especially dangerous if you're carrying a child because you're already kinda dehydrated because 'cause they're already taking all your fluids and stuff. That's rough. That's rough. Mischief. If I was born a mermaid, I would be pissed if they fixed me. Yeah, yeah, I would be too. I would be too. That's right, Miss Sunrise Dawn, I think you and I talked about this. You were preeclamptic with your oldest as well. See, there are all these women who've experienced this and people who, like, their wives or others have experienced this, and I had no idea. Like, I think if I could go back and do something differently when I was pregnant, it would be to try to find a way to connect with other women who had had babies or were pregnant or had had pregnancies before. Because as it was, like, the only people I was in contact with was, like, my mom and my mother-in-law, but I didn't see them all the time, so it wasn't like, I didn't have people to bounce things off of, like, there was no one I was calling every day to go, like, "Is this normal? Like, what's this? Like, what's happening here?" I had books. I had textbooks full of things, but they only go so far, right? They don't, a textbook doesn't soothe you, right? It doesn't, It doesn't calm you when you're worried about something. It just kinda it gives you facts, which, that's kind of a theme with me. Like, I try to get comfort from textbooks, and it doesn't always work. That doesn't mean they're not interesting, but you don't get comfort from a textbook. You don't get connection from a textbook. Oh, wow. Janet G says, "My cousin had a fused toe, like a webbed toe. We always asked to see her double toe." Cool. Oh, at 6 months, 7? She was put on bed rest at 6 months? Oh, man. So much bed rest. I would just, like I would just lose my ever-loving mind. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, there's a lot of things that I could deal with. Like, I think I would rather have the horrible Pitocin contractions again than have to be on bed rest for 3 months at the end of my pregnancy, and I know that's crazy, but I would it's a mental thing, right? It's a mental thing. I gotta move. Oh, dang. Miss Sunrise Dawn said, my mom mowed the lawn while in labor with my sister." I mean, I can see it happening, like, so the natural childbirth class I took, like, we learned all about, like so if labor is allowed to begin naturally, it starts out very slowly and gradually builds up, right? And these contractions start out very small and very subtle, almost just like cramps, and then they increase and increase and increase. Um, and if you're gonna do the natural childbirth thing, but you're gonna use a hospital, they say the best thing to do is to labor as long as you can at home. But of course, we couldn't do that because we had to get induced. So really missed. Missed says when I was pregnant, there was no concern about food that you ate. Now, cat litter though was a thing. I took Sudafed tablets like they were candy. My nose was stuffed up tight. I noticed that I got more easily congested when I was pregnant too. And then I learned that that's a thing. Like, your sinuses act differently when you're pregnant. I've heard of the cat litter thing. Like, there's a particular parasite that can live in cat poop that is particularly dangerous to pregnant women. So I have heard of that one. We did not have cats in the house when I was pregnant, so we didn't have to think about it. Best thing for a lot of nausea, etc., is ginger, says Mon. Anything with ginger is awesome, even just nausea in general, and you don't have to be pregnant. This is what I've heard. A coworker friend of mine, when she knew I had a stomach bug one time, she sent me like an Amazon Now order, and one of the things in it were like ginger candies to like soothe your stomach. It doesn't taste great, but it can help. Oh, I love this, Rick. Silly, but I'm so glad into that you all value family so much. Me too, Rick. And like, I don't know, maybe it sounds cheesy, but I consider you guys family in a way as well. Like when I show up and I say, "Hey, lifeboat fam," I'm not just saying that. Like you guys really like I care about what happens to you. I noticed if you're not around and I see a lot of you. I talk to a lot of you every day, which is actually more often than I talk to a lot of my blood family. So that's something. That's saying something. That's huge. Mary says I was on bed rest for the last 3 weeks of my pregnancy at high blood pressure at that time. I wish I knew how to crochet. Yeah, you know what? If I was going to get put on bed rest, I'd have to learn to do something like that. Like I would probably read a lot, but what would hurt me is the not being able to move. Like I would need to move around. That's what would get to me. So I'd probably need to learn to do something with my hands like that. I should probably learn to do that now anyway. Like I can use all of those coping skills I can get in my toolbox. Oh, that sounds delicious, Janet G. Janet G says I'm making lemon ginger tea now. Anyone want a cuppa? Well, I have this one, otherwise I would take you up on it. That sounds delicious. I wonder what this is. Now I wonder what it could be. Mon says, Janet G, that put a vulgar thought in my head, but it would be for Chow's channel. Are we saving the vulgarity for Chow? That's okay. That's okay. Uh, I'm not offended by it, but if you want to save it, that's cool too. But I have no idea what that could be. You do miss you show up in your own short suggestions? I had this happen the other day, and I don't know, like, I don't know how or why, but it was like I finished watching a what was I watching? I don't remember. I think it was a Chase the Heat video. I finished watching that, and then it autoplayed me next, and I'm like, "Why are you doing this?" It's not like I sit around and watch my own videos all day long. Um, I don't. I rarely rewatch any if I do, like, I'll sometimes watch things that are pre-recorded through first just to make sure there's, like, like, no identifying stuff in them or something like that, or, like, there's not, like, something falling from the ceiling or whatever, but other than that, I have been trying to I have gone back and watched, like, the very first video I did it not the whole thing, but, like, parts of it, just for, like, my knowledge and going like, "Hey, I got more comfortable somewhere in here." Like, it's interesting, it's interesting. If you do the YouTube thing, I recommend it. Like, go after you've been doing it for a while, look at your first one. It's really it's eye-opening, it's eye-opening. Really missed. The doctor looked at me and immediately said, "Go to the hospital on my second time around." Mm, this is hard, Mischief. That's a good point. Mischief says, "I was adopted, so my mom had no advice to give. I was stuck with books too." Yeah, it's really hard when you don't have, like, someone who went before you to, like, ask what to expect. I don't know, like, there's a whole bunch of books out there, right? And they're great, and they range from, like, the scientific to the, like, helpful, like, auntie style, like, the what to expect when you're expecting stuff. But it's all just so different from, like, talking to another woman who's been there and, like, having her express that, she's been there and, like, comfort you. It's such a different thing. And, yeah, it's just different. So, it's hard. Miss Dragon says, "Thanks to being pregnant, I now know what Zwieback? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Zwieback toast is, dry toast, and all we had was the baby book by Dr. Spock." Great book, actually. You know what? I still have the baby book by Dr. Spock. That's the one that my mother-in-law gave me, and that's a pretty solid one. There's so many different books, and it can get overwhelming, but, like, that's a good solid one. Dang, missed. I was lifting 100 pounds dead weight at 7 months pregnant. Holy crap. Because that's what I was doing. That was my job, letting patients. Oh, okay. So you were already doing this. So you just continued to do so. Yeah. The pregnancy congestion. It's kind of confusing. Seventh said she was mortified at another mom giving birth, was told she was having a girl. Evidently, my wife's disc man was on repeat because the story is my son's mom saying, "Let's hear it for the boy," over and over again. Oh, I love that. Nice. I made this whole playlist like for when I was going to be in the hospital, like going into labor, but then their Wi Fi didn't work and I didn't save it to the device, so I couldn't play any of it. Okay, yours didn't start gradually, Mary, not mine. Mine came on like a wrecking ball. There were no little contractions, and then they billed for me. It was back labor right away and intense pain. Yeah, I guess it's different for everybody, for sure. Reglan. Miss says, "I took Reglan for morning sickness with my second one. Didn't seem to affect the kids. Healthy as a horse and 6'2". 6'2", dang. Yeah, sounds like they grew fine." What was the one? The one that was really bad that, like, led to birth defects and stuff, that was thalidomide. I think that was a little earlier in history, but that was covered up for a long time. Actually, they kept giving it to women in the UK for a long time after they knew there was something wonky going on. It's a really, really twisted, upsetting story, actually. Oh, wow. My Sunrise Dawn Miss says, "My friend that's pregnant is having a really hard time. Her mom told me she can't even hold down water." Yeah. Yeah, that might be if it's that bad, that might be more than just regular morning sickness. That might be the hyperemesis gravidarum. Um, I don't know why they gave it such a ridiculously complex name, but that's what it's called. But it basically just means you throw up way more than you would normally for morning sickness. But um, at that point, it does get to the point where it can be dangerous to mama and baby because they can't stay hydrated and they can't stay nourished. So at that point is where they look at it might be good to, provide some kind of medical intervention. Like supportive, they can give fluids to like deal with dehydration, like in the short term, and then they can prescribe something that is, safe or at least known safe to help, keep it from being so bad. I don't know what I missed here, but it sounds like it had to do with labor or postpartum or something like that. Mischief says, Dawn, I couldn't either for 3 months. My husband had to put me in the bathtub and wash my hair. I don't know where this came from. Oh, I don't know. I lost the plot. But Mom says camel toes are not a good look, ladies or men for that matter. No, no, not a good look. Is that was the response to the cup of ginger or something like that? Your early YouTube was Skywatcher videos missed. Yeah, you're with me, miss. Yeah. I don't hate watching myself. It's just weird. It's just surreal to me. Um, it's oddly yeah, it's just oddly uncomfortable. Oh wow. Seven says, fortunately, my son's mother was only in the hospital for a month. Unfortunately, my son was born 8.5 weeks early. Wow. Well, if they put her on bed rest that early, like you said, I guess that makes sense. They might have induced earlier because if it was that early, probably her preeclampsia was more severe. I was lucky. Mine was fairly mild, and it didn't pop up until the very end of my pregnancy. Hey, I didn't see where she came in, but apparently Misha's here. I'm hopelessly behind on the comments, you guys. Hopelessly. There you are. I found you. Just popping in to say hi. Well, I am happy you popped in to say hi, Misha. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you. Oh, that's good. Jan G says, when I was pregnant, I connected with the woman who'd had twins a year before me, and it was so helpful. Yeah, that would be. Like, so I had my mother who lived 30 minutes away, and I had my mother-in-law who lived pretty close, but I didn't, and I don't know why, but I didn't feel comfortable asking anybody for help. I just didn't. I felt like I should be able to figure it out all on my own. So I probably upset myself a lot more than was necessary in my son's first year of life because I just had this idea in my head that I had to do everything myself, which is stupid and ridiculous. But that's where I was in my head at the time. Miss Sunrise Dawn said, when I was in labor with my oldest, I was having major contractions and the machine wasn't showing anything. Oh, that's annoying because then you have medical people looking at the machine and going, oh, you're fine. And you're like, bloody heck, I'm fine. This is awful. My mom and mother in law were joking that I was a wimp, blah, blah. Stupid machine was broken. Oh, that's so annoying. That's so annoying. Miss Sunrise Dawn. I hope they figured out it was broken. They stopped making fun of you. Danielle Orich says, your channel is like coming and seeing how everyone's okay. Talk about serious and silly things with no judgment. I have recently become partially handicapped, and these late night podcasts are a gift. Thanks. I'm so glad to hear that, Danielle. Thank you for saying that too. I'm that's really why I put it up is because I feel like probably there's more than a couple of us out there that have a hard time at this time of night. And it's good to, even if we're not typing a lot, it's good to have, a place to come hang out and just check in and see how everybody is. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. I'm glad that you're getting something from it, Danielle. And I'm really happy you're here too. And I'm checking my notifications, you guys, because I've always said I don't overlap Chow Yun Smut because I love her show and I don't want to miss it. And I know we all like to hang out over there too. So I don't. So I watch my notifications And then I just say, "Hey, everybody, time to go. Time to go over there." I kinda think of it as like going down the street to our other friend's house. That's what I think of it like. Janet G says, "My birthing experience was traumatic. I hemorrhaged half my blood volume, went blind on the table, and almost coded." Goodness gracious, Janet G. Right in front of my husband's eyes. Last thing I remember was him staring down at me. Wow. That is traumatic. Like, that is legit medical trauma. I am so glad that you are with us. I'm so glad that you recovered. That's terrifying. That must have been so scary for you and your husband as well. I'm so glad that you're here with us, telling this story and telling us about all the silly things that your twins did when they were little. Wow. That is traumatic. That's difficult. Was it up to the late '70s that they were using thalidomide, Mon? I couldn't remember how long they kept using it for. Hmm. Miss says, "I always felt that our first we lost was a girl, and now my granddaughter is my mini me." Oh, I love that. I think I've told y'all I had a very, very early miscarriage. Like, it was so early that it wasn't gonna have, I didn't have a whole lot of, like, physical ramifications, but it was mostly emotionally upsetting, and I always thought of it as, like, that baby was not ready to be born yet. Like, they went back up to heaven or whatever else you believe and said, "Hey, we're gonna hang out up here a little bit longer. We're gonna come back down when you're ready. You're not ready for me yet." And so I like to think that baby came back down when he was ready, you know? Mischief says, "Janet, I did the same." Oh, you coded like that? You almost coded like that too, Mischief? Wow. I had no idea how many people had that experience. Holy moly. They handed the baby to my husband and sent him out of the room to be with the family. Wow. Wow. I'm so glad that you're here with us, Mischief. Like, childbirth is one of those things that it's like an everyday miracle, right? Like, on the one hand, it's something that happens every single day and is like a natural thing a body is supposed to be able to do. But then on the other hand, it is also perilous. It can be very dangerous and it can go wrong in a lot of ways. Um, it's an everyday miracle for sure. The machine broken. It wasn't showing the sunrise dawn's contractions. That was the only time I've cussed around my mom and not gotten fussed at. I told them to get someone in there now and check the machine. Nice. No way, Rick. Is this true? I hope this is not true. I'll have to look at wow. Thalidomide for mood control? That's wild. I'll have to look into that. I hope that they have all the warnings about not taking it if someone is pregnant. The Sunrise Dawn said, "The nurse came in and checked me and said, 'Oh, she's just a big one,' and the machine was flat. I told them I was chucking it out the window, and they brought me another one." Yeah, they have those machines that monitor your contractions, and they have, like, a little line on it to show, like, when it spikes and gets really bad. I wasn't watching mine, but, like, my husband was watching the little thing. Like, I don't know why because, like, I could feel it and, like, probably how loud I yelled was about par with, like, what it said, but I don't know, he liked the graph. The graph was helpful. Thanks, Mon. Hi, I wanted to send hearts and ones to all who are here and need love or special thoughts. I would like to echo that because you guys have shared a lot of really I mean, I know a lot of it's been, like, things that were in the past, but sometimes that can, you can feel that like it was yesterday, you know? So I second that. Thank you, Mon. Before it gets too late, I need to show the pictures that Mom sent. Oh, and Chow Yun Smut's going live, so I'm gonna show these cool pictures of the future, and then we'll go over there. So let's see. Here we go. Y'all know Mom sends me pictures of the future because she's in Australia and they're 16 hours ahead of me. So I get to know that we have these beautiful blue skies. Isn't that cool? Oh, there's a bunch here. Oh, wow. Barely a cloud in the sky, just like the one. That's amazing. And the sun is so pretty. Wowza. Thank you, Mon. I love the future pictures always. Oh, thank you, Mon. That's just kind of how I thought of it to cope with it. Misha said, so nervous, so scared. Mom had passed not quite a year before, nobody to talk to. He came home, looked at the baby mags, and threw up all over them. Shaking my head, I should have known then. I'm so sorry, Misha. That's not, yeah, that's not the kind of support that you want. I'm so sorry. It sounds like that was, yeah, I'm so sorry. We're glad you're here, Misha. I'm glad to see you. I know it's at a weird hour, but I'm glad that you're here. Oh, no. We don't want that, Miss Sunrise Dawn. Please get some rest. So sleepy, I'm hallucinating. Good night, all. Have a good night, everyone. See you soon. Thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab, y'all know how we do. I'm gonna go ahead and grab Chow's link. So if you are still awake and you need some more hangout time, some more connection time, we can go over and visit our good friend Cricket. Let's see if somebody is faster than me on the link share. I've gotten faster with it, but it still takes a little bit of a yeah, learning curve. Okay, there's the link to Chow Yun Smut. She just went live, so if you guys are still awake and needing the hangout time, please head on over there. And oh, and I always post. Let's see, where's sorry, my computer just decided to like freeze up on me. That's super fun. Here we go. And then if you are, and then Mary, if there's anybody I overlooked that you think I need to share here, let me know. Or feel free to drop a link. I will also drop a link to the lifeboat because that's where I know all of you people from. And if I don't, then I will soon. Thank you so much for coming to hang out. Every night that people show up here is a pleasant surprise to me. And I'll see you guys over at Chow's or one of the other places we like to hang out. Y'all have a good night. Like, and Misha says, love you guys. Need to get to bed. Hopefully, semi love to Cricks. Absolutely. I will. Thanks, Misha. Bye, y'all. See you later.